Good morning, and welcome to Morning Java here on DKPittsburghSports.com. Brought to you, as always, by GetGo Cafe and Market, where right now you can get a breakfast combo for $3.99. That $3.99 gets you a sandwich, hash brown, and a small coffee.
And for the rest of July, you can get their special deal, 2 for $5 breakfast bagel sandwiches. That's one of my favorites in the morning.
It gets you going, doesn't it, Grubba? I hear that.
Well, get that bacon, egg, and cheese going.
I'm Chris Carter. I'm with Matt Grubba. Matt, how you doing on this fine day?
Doing good. It's been it's going to be a busy one for both of us coming up here, and I know for you, your eyes are going to be on Steeler training camp.
Yes, indeed.
Players report today out in St. Vincent.
Yes,
are you excited? I mean, you have to be, right?
I don't know. I'm excited because the closer we get to actual football means the closer I get to new film to watch. I've been watching the same film for about 6 months, people. I'm driving myself a little crazy. It's very exciting. The rookies are finally going to get in there. One thing I covered in Carter's classroom over the weekend was the fact that this is going to be Vance McDonald's first training camp with the Steelers. Remember, he was acquired via trade with the Steelers last year. Also, Joe Hayden, he's going to get a full training camp with the team this year. It's going to be really interesting to see how they gel. They're going to, they're also going to be seeing John Bostic. How does Morgan Burnett fit in? Terrell Edmonds just signed his rookie contract. We all knew he was going to, but now it's official. I think that they're raring to go. And they know that there's a lot of pressure on this year, considering all the contract talks with Le'Veon and everything going around the league right now.
Yeah, how important is a first camp for these guys, getting the time in the system and not showing up a week before the first kickoff?
Well, it's important because you develop relationships with your players, and when you develop those relationships, you know who you can trust. You develop that feel with what I can do when this person's on the field behind me. Like, one thing that the Steelers later learned throughout the year was that they could leave Burns and Hayden in certain situations and feel comfortable about doing that, and that allowed the defense to do other things against certain teams. So it's all about developing those type of relationships, and it's especially going to be important for those players over the middle. Sean Davis, Morgan Burnett, Terrell Edmonds, how are the safeties fitting in? Because they're going to be moving all around this defense. I see that being a major storyline for the Steelers throughout the season, so it's going to be impactful to get the full camp experience.
Yeah, stick in the NFL where, other big news around the league. Todd Gurley, the Rams running back, signed a pretty hefty deal, which is very relevant to the Pittsburgh Steelers and their contract negotiations with Le'Veon Bell. Todd Gurley gets $45 million in guaranteed money in that deal. What's that going to do for the Le'Veon Bell situation?
Well, I think it's only going to push his asking price to even higher. Now, let's talk about some serious factors here. One, it was $60 million, which for 4 years. That's $15 a year. $45 million of that is guaranteed money. That's huge, considering what the Steelers were talking about offering $60 or $70 million over 4 years, but reportedly only $10 million of that was going to be guaranteed. That's definitely the big difference as far as what was. And Le'Veon Bell, he responded on Twitter. He said, and people thought I was tripping, talking about people saying that he was asking for too much. And this is something that myself and Dale Lally have said repeatedly on this show and on our Steelers podcast, is that the running back market is about to explode with Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, Kareem Hunt, Alvin Kamara. Todd Gurley was on that list as well. There's a number of guys that are going to be coming up after Le'Veon Bell that are going to set new prices for what superstar running backs cost. And this is just the beginning.
And isn't this a trend we're going to see, too, in terms of the guaranteed money? Because we also saw with Saquon Barkley signing his contract with the Giants, getting a lot of that up front in the guaranteed department. I mean, given how long a running back's career is, the risks involved just with football in general, that's going to be a trend we're going to see more and more, that these guys maybe even are asking for less of a top dollar, but they want that money guaranteed.
Yeah, because, too many players have seen those guys that have gotten hurt in their careers, and that takes away from what they can do. Adrian Peterson, as great as he was, you'd think that at right now that he would have been able to command a contract, but because of his injury history, people aren't so sure about where he fits in. Now, notably, I also want to make sure that everyone understands some differences. Todd Gurley is 23. He's about 3 to 4 years younger than Bell. And he hasn't had the run-ins with suspensions and such. But also, countering that, I would say that Bell definitely is a guy that has another 4 years in him, at least.
And also a bit more versatile, too. As a pass catcher, does some more things. Complete. Gurley's more of a between the tackles guy.
Right. He can, and people say, he had more receiving yards. Well, that's because he caught screen passes and they were wide open. Also, I think another important part of that conversation, the Rams, they're spending tons of money right now. They signed Brandon Cooks at wide receiver to a huge deal. They got Marcus Peters from the Chiefs. He's going to get paid. Aqib Talib is on their team. Aaron Donald is going to. They have stars. So people who think that, oh, well, the Rams are just a team that can afford to do this. They're packing stars just like the Steelers are. I think that right now this sort of sets the tone and says if Le'Veon Bell is even going to be sniffed by the Steelers next year, if he has a big season, his asking price is going to go up. Switching from one football to another, Matt, big story. Pittsburgh is about to host the International Champions Cup between Dortmund and Benfica. It's drawing a lot of attention right now. What do you got? What's the big stories of this match?
Well, the number one story and the guy drawing all the attention is Christian Pulisic. We talked a little bit about him with our exclusive on this website. Hopefully, you guys had a chance to check that out. But he was actually here at Highmark Stadium signing autographs and meeting fans.
What kind of a draw was that?
The line was, it put the Thunderbolt to shame. Let's put it that way.
I've had to wait for the Thunderbolt.
No, it wrapped around. There were probably about 2,000 that came through the gates here at Highmark just for a meet and greet in the middle of a workday on a Tuesday. So that's pretty impressive. But it was also both teams, chance to meet the Pittsburgh media. Benfica, the Portuguese team, many times champion there. They were practicing over at the Rooney Complex at the Steelers training facility this morning. Cool. And they also have an American, Keaton Parks, on their team. He's a guy that's trying to break into their, regular rotation. He's another young player that's sort of viewed as a future U.S. national team guy.
Okay.
So he's going to be out there as well. We've got a chance to talk to him. And then shifted gears from Benfica to Dortmund in the afternoon. Dortmund did the true Pittsburgh tour.
Okay.
They hit Permane Brothers for some lunch, although some of the players looked a little skeptical of that sandwich when it was, especially because it was right before practice. But they went up the incline, had a chance to take some good photos, and then they were actually on the surface at Heinz Field at 5 or 6 o'clock and had their practice right there on the field they're going to play on. That game's 8 o'clock tonight on ESPN. So you can get tickets if you're local. If you're watching us from afar, check it out on ESPN.
Matt'll be there covering it live.
I will have all the coverage, yep. Chris, we've had so much fun talking football and football. Let's sort of mix the two. And I don't know if you saw the clip on Twitter with Al Villanueva from the Steelers.
I did see it.
He was out at one of the Benfica practices, their Monday practice, showing off some soccer skills. I mean,
what's he doing, man? He could get hurt. He can't afford to do. I'm joking.
The only thing is that a lot of people were asking, was that a regulation-sized ball? It's like, no. Villanueva's just that big.
Yeah.
But, I mean, showing some impressive foot skills. So my question to you, because you're around those guys more than I am, who do you think would be the best soccer player off the Steelers?
I got to go with Antonio Brown. His footwork, man, it's just too ridiculous. I think that he would have the coordination, the quickness. I think that, and plus he's high flying. I mean, how many times have we seen that guy jump in the air and land with his feet in bounds on the corner while torquing his body in the right way and taking hits from other people? I think that if you wanted a guy that was gonna drive in and get a shot or get the right pass,
keep his balance, with bodies banging off him. Yeah, I could see that for sure. And we see receivers a lot of times. Odell Beckham's the first guy that comes to mind that has a soccer background, guy with foot skills, that sort of thing. Crazy tweet. A favorite of Pittsburghers, of course, Chad Johnson, Mr. Ocho Cinco himself.
I forgot he did this.
He tweeted not too long ago that he thinks he could go out and play for FC Cincinnati, which is the team in the league with our Riverhounds here. And I kind of think that's a little crazy that he could just walk right out and play. Maybe with some training he could, but
I think with some training. I mean, the thing is, these guys are athletes, and at the end of the day, yes, there's basic skills that go into soccer. There's understanding of schemes and such. And
that's the big hurdle,
right?
And they would have to learn that.
Can you translate that? Can you learn how to dribble? But especially, I mean, a lot of athletes coming up these days are trained to be good in multiple sports. Right. They don't know when you're young where you're going to find your success and make your mark. So it makes sense. I mean, Russell Martin, when he was in Pittsburgh, he used to always play with a soccer ball before games.
Yeah, and you know what? I spoke with one of the Benfica press officers, before their media availability, and he was saying while they were at the Rooney Complex, the Benfica players were watching the Steelers work out and lift in the weight room and just in awe of the raw weights that these guys are bench pressing and squatting, and they're not. But then on the flip side, those same guys, the Steelers, were coming out to watch the soccer practice and watching them run the way they do for 20, 30 minutes, really no breaks in there, the constant movement and the speed that they're going to do that, and they're in awe of them. I mean, what it comes down to is both are high-level groups of athletes.
They're world-class athletes that they appreciate what each other can do, and that's something I think is very important. There's different types of athleticism. There's power lifters, there's speed runners, there's distance runners, there's all over, and it's appreciated to see all of it together.
And the best thing is we get to enjoy them both in Pittsburgh with the International Champions Cup match tonight, and then Steelers season right around the corner.
It's a happy Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.